right.
You want to go first?
Probably not.
Well, okay. My name is Michelle Tan. I'm from Singapore originally, and I'm the operations manager at the Commons. What do I do? Basically, I manage and run the Commons place space to make sure that it's welcoming and everything's in place. So it's the back end of the works that I do, and why is this is not a one person job, and that's the reason why we have Gemma, as our Commons coordinator, because she is the face of the Commons. And Gemma, tell us what you do.
Yes. So yes, I'm Gemma, and I'm from Saipan. I'm pretty much the coordinator here. It's a combination of different roles. Really, it's just when you need me in the office space to kind of answer questions and guide you to all the resources that we have, or if it's in the event space and you just have a lot of creative questions, or just like guidance, you need help with planning, because I know a lot of people struggle with planning. We struggle with wanting to be perfect when we do certain things, but oftentimes when you have a very calm support, it works out well. So a combination of that, and then being admin, and then really I'm not really limited by the role. As you can see, coordinator, Commons coordinator, it could be anything really at this point, but pretty much I'm here for my team mostly too.
Well, I think, correct me if I'm wrong too, but I think also our community are kind of like also becoming more aware about, our presence in here as a community space too. Only because we've been kind of like partnering with different community organizations and partners, to have programs within our event space. And some of them even, taking up some of our co-working space at our at a dedicated desk as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little bit more awareness, and like when we run programs like the free text filing programs, that helped us to kind of like get a little bit more of a attraction and attention from a community that, oh, we didn't know there was this community space. We thought it was a residential building, but lo and behold, there's actually an event space at the bottom of the residential area. And so it's kind of like helping to create that awareness that there is a community space at the Fourth Plain Boulevard neighborhood that is open for everybody, and which is great. And we're getting more and more inquiries, and which is what's keeping Gemma busy all the time too. And despite the fact that we've been getting like a lot of inquiries about residential rental questions, right?
Yes, and I really don't mind. Like, I know it's really difficult to having to reach out to people and always hitting a wall, really. So, and that's why, like, I think this place is very impactful, because we don't want to have to be a wall for you, Like, even if we are a commercial space and we offer you like an event space to do what you need, or a co-working space to have an address for your business, or like a kitchen space to open other opportunities. Like, when someone comes in, we just had like a couple of kids even come through, and they're like, how do I work here? Well, I don't know if you can work here yet, because we would love to have you here. I mean, we are really needing people here, but I always tend to refer a lot of the people who need help somewhere else. And I think that's why it's so important to connect with one another, because if you can't offer that resource as an organization or as an individual, someone else who can do that. And that's really reaching back to where we once were before, like indigenous roots, really, like just being able to help your neighbor, whoever they are, regardless where they come from, how old they are, what they need. Like, if you don't have it, you will find it. And that's the impact of this space, because we see so many different people come through here, and we're not separated by any label or title or interest. It's just a matter of we all have needs, and we can find it together.
Yeah, and to add on to that, and that's the beauty about it, and I'm glad you brought up about the part about, how the community coming in, and just, asking questions and all that, because, yeah, in our own community, in Saipan and in Singapore, If we don't have the resources,
Mm-hmm.
we would just ask our neighbors or our contacts and just say
Mm-hmm.
that, hey, I have this situation, who can I look for, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that our space here is turning into that kind of a hub, and that's also one of the reasons why we are converting our co-working space into a resource hub, wanting to reach out to different partners, to take root in our co-working space, to better serve the community and to make this space even more accessible and open and
Mm-hmm.
helpful, right,
Mm-hmm.
to the community. So that was what triggered. So thanks for bringing
Yeah.
that up.
Well, for me, when they call in, immediately they just ask about the apartments, and obviously we are the commercial space, and we already have information. I already have it on the side of my desk, like numbers and websites and places where they could go if they, because I can't give them that information. So I send them to like a number, and a lot of the confusion comes from the fact that like it's the Fourth Plane Community Commons, the whole building itself. But in that building, like there are two different offices. And so one is a commercial space and one is the apartment, like the Vancouver Housing Authority. They take care of all of that. So we pretty much send each other's people to each office. So when they go there for us, they send them to us. When they come there for them, we send them to them. So yeah, that's just a difficulty there, but it's not really, too bad.
Yeah. But I guess also on our part, it made me also more acutely aware that, and I'm pretty proud to say this, that the Fourth Plane Community Commons contact information is easily available. So that's also the reason why the community has been reaching out to us when they want to know more about the residential section. So it's a double-edged sword, where on one hand I'm glad that our communications is working so great because people just pick up the call and ask, and on the other hand, we are also wanting to work with the residential team that hey, perhaps we should have a contact number made accessible, so that the community don't have to go around the building looking for that. And when you're caught in a situation where you are in need of wanting answers to your housing, requirements, it can get really frustrating and daunting too. So I think we're learning as we go along. Like I said, we've only moved in August, you know, less than 6 months old, kind of a thing, and we're all still learning the whole process. Even like, with more residents moving in, you have more pets, in the
Yeah.
neighborhood too. That's also giving us, another form of challenges, because we used to have an activity lawn where families and children used to play,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, it's kind of like that has stopped because we're getting a little bit more of a dog waste activity lawn there now instead.
Ooh. Ooh.
So
Seriously.
yeah, we're learning how to navigate that, trying to work with everyone to find a little solution, because this is, after all, still a residential commercial space too. So
Mm-hmm.
we would love to have the kids and the families, hang out at the activity lawn, which is just next to the playground. It makes really, perfect sense for them to just hang out at the lawn, have a picnic. And so we'll see. We'll keep you posted. So tune back.
I'll let you go first. I'm kind of thirsty. I'm gonna.
Well, I think one of some of the challenges that I'm noticing of late, especially, is really communications, which is also the reason why that the team has kind of like decided that we should really focus on being that resource hub, because we've heard from a couple of community groups as well, that they have certain challenges trying to reach out to certain organizations, or do not know where or how they can, reach out for help, resources, assistance, um, with their, situation and all that. And that's also one of the reasons why we're I personally feel that we should be more like a connector, a bridge, and create that awareness. We may be having a event space and a co-working space, and those are just services and facilities that we can offer to the community. But what else? What makes us a little bit more dynamic is to be more mindful about what other additional services we can add on to it. So one of the other services that I'm also looking at and exploring is, the ability to offer some kind of a translation services on site for some of the events that are taking place here that are organized by the institutions, so that our diverse community in the Fourth Plain neighborhood can have access and can understand what are some of the programs and activities that we're having here. And that also explains why most of our collaterals, our brochures and all that, we're moving towards a direction of a multilingual kind of a publication, to reach out to everyone. So it's not there yet, but right now we only have a Spanish translation, but we're getting there because we're finding our footing in, and that's why that communication is important for us, because as we start talking more and more and engaging more and more with the community, we're realizing that where are the gaps, where are the areas that we can improve better, to help them to make this place even more accessible, right?
Yes, really. She's right. Communication is really hard here, and that really ties into awareness as well. Like, we're not really aware of who we're talking to oftentimes. We just think we're talking to someone who's just like us, when really we're probably meeting the person who's the exact opposite, and we're just getting triggered constantly. Even if we're just talking about something as simple as the event, like that's about to happen, the party, the public event that's trying to meet the needs of the people. And honestly, I see it all the time as a coordinator. I see, so that's why everyone wants to get it perfect, because we're constantly seeing that they're not getting it right. And that's really because you're never really going to get it right. You're going to meet so many people all the time who have needs that you can't foresee. And honestly, what you need to have is the openness to hear people out, to really listen. Like, and I don't mean listen to their words, I mean really listen to the little things that they mention, even the fact that they have like a slangs, or even they have like words that you don't even use. Like, there's a reason for that. And I think it's really hard because a lot of people find it hard to express themselves, because they're worried that if they say the wrong things, they're going to be perceived a certain way, which really limits you in living your life, really. And I think that's what causes everyone to communicate in a difficult way, because you want to say the things that people want to hear versus what you really mean. And I see that a lot in the event space and the co-working space, and we get so nervous. And honestly, like, I hate to see people feel that way. Even with me, I don't change the way I talk for anybody unless it's to help us meet in the middle. And then when you see that I mean well to you, we can be our true selves together. And I still have some of my slangs from back in my island, but at the same time, that doesn't mean I can't adapt and be able to meet you where you're at too. And me and Michelle, we're from different places, but we bond a lot with some of our values, but we still fight a lot because of the way we communicate is so from like different spaces. Like, what we see is being very like nurturing and helpful is like, does she think I'm like dumb, like like, am I dumb, like you're talking? But then that's not it. It's just like she wants to be there for you, like something as simple as that. Like, but yeah, I think that's the issue, because then no one will take accountability when they need to take accountability. And that's the biggest thing that's not just present in a small way in our community, but in a very big way with other people who hold big positions. We don't want to take accountability because we don't want to be aware of the things that are in front of us and communicate and meet where the people need you to meet them. But yeah, that's what I think too.
Yeah, and I think also one of our other challenges with this space is also because, we are such a small team, right? And there are only like what, 4 of us in here.
Yes.
Yeah, and it can get challenging, and that we do have our limitations too. And from an operations manager point of view, it can get very frustrating and challenging, when you want to do your best and meet the community's requests and needs, as much as possible. But like for example, we've had requests, booking requests for Sundays,
Mm.
and we've had to turn it down only because um, there's only four of us and there's only so much that we can manage,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
because the team does need that downtime to rest too, to be able to serve our community, in our bright cheery way, and not sad and tired, because then you go like, are you here or are you not here with us, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing also is that like with celebrations, you want to party till late at night, but because we are attached to a residential area, we have to be mindful of our neighbors too. And so that's also one of the problems when our events have to end at 8 o'clock. Where we have our hires,
Yes.
can we end at 8 o'clock and then leave at like 9, 10 o'clock, and we have to like, we're sorry, but you really can't, because especially on the weekdays when you have residents, who need their rest for the work, or worse, when they have to work, in the graveyard shift kind of hours. So it's really being mindful about things like that, and managing expectations. And when you see the community coming in and not being able to have their event at our space because of our timing,
Yeah.
our dates, it's heartbreaking, but
It is.
yes.
Yes.
We're getting there. We're trying to find ways. We're trying, hoping that the team will grow. But for now, unfortunately, this is what we can offer.
Yes. We do feel for a lot of groups, because I know Sundays is a very special time for
Yes.
most of our residents to come together, because they have religious practices, or that's really just a most open time for a lot of families. But we're working on it. We're really trying to figure out a way to help you out. But for now, we only hope for patience. True. A lot of the groups so far that we are like collaborating with, excuse me, is like Columbia
River Mental Health.
Mental Health, Columbia Play. Like, it's just there's so
Columbia
many
Play Project.
so many Columbia, and so we also have like other things going on, like CPR trainings that are available for the community. Honestly, like, you should say everything.
Well, I guess when of course, when we didn't have that budget to run programs, it was a bit heartbreaking, because we were all really excited and gearing, wanting to do our programs and all that kind of thing. But we just find another creative ways of presenting programs, and that is to partner with some other organizations who may need that space, or may want to reach out to the community, at the Fourth Plain neighborhood. So what we do is that we will partner with them as a venue partner. So some of the few partners, as what Gemma has mentioned, has been like Columbia Play Project, Columbia River Mental Health, and even with the Vancouver Housing Authority team and Rent Locus, and we're mindful when we partner with different partners, because the kind of like programs and activities, or even events that we have here when we're partnering with the different organizations, is that it must be relevant. It must be something that the community is in need of. And it must be something that is sustainable too, because we don't want them to think of us as a one-off space, but we want them to think about us as a community space that, hey, we need this, but we don't know what's going on. Maybe we should check in with the Fourth Plain Community Commons team, and that's what we're moving towards, because it's not about us just rolling out the programs, but we also encourage our community, give us feedback, tell us what else you need. Like, we just recently had a couple of conversations with some members of the community about creating a nutritional program, because we have a commissary kitchen. I mean, hey, it makes sense, right? So nutritional programs to help not just with the community, but with our residential neighbors above us. And the to me, what's fun and exciting is the fact that we are creating a nutritional program with a focus on a different cuisines. So it's not it's so we can look at Spanish cuisine, Asian cuisines. So we're basically trying to open up that whole food box, so to speak. That the food box is that one entity, but it has so many possibilities. So that's where we're going, and that's how we're finding creative ways and means to kind of like expand, our programs, so that even though our hands are tied financially, and resource in terms of like people planning the programs and all that, but yeah, we find really good and interesting partners who believe in the same ideas and concept as we do, and we just run along with each other.
Yes, thank you, Michelle. You delivered that so much more better than I could. That's why we trusted that you should do this. Feedback. Like, I would really, I like talking. I mean, like, I love hearing what you guys have to say about what we do here. We do send out links to fill out forms, but if you want to sit down and actually talk about what your feedbacks are, like, I would love that as well. Really patience too, because in the end there are very few of us here, but that doesn't mean we won't try to help where we can. And so yes, feedback really is helpful, knowing where your needs are, so that I as well can find out what those resources are available to you with those needs.
Yeah, that's really it. Feedback, so that we know and are aware of what the gaps, and also know how to improve ourselves further to better serve the community. And for feedback to happen, that's where communication is critical. And supporting collaboration, and patience.
Yes. Yes, patience. Yeah. When you do reach out, like, just know that we really have good intentions. Like, we really want to make sure we hear you out and see where we can help you. And patience really comes from, we are definitely gonna find we're definitely gonna find a place where we don't hear each other. Like, it seems like we don't hear each other, but the important part is we need to try. So yes, pretty much that. Thank you. Well, I don't know how this would ever, but I do have like the belief that it will. But I really want to see more of our youth and our families coming together more often. Since COVID, since a lot of things really, like, it's been hard to bring everyone together and feel like a community. Like, I hope that we have more programs here where we start to build that one definition of community, because we all have different versions of community, but I think one day I want everyone to have like be able to come here to the comments and know that we were just one community over here. And with programs, like, I would hope that there would be more that are just like more public events, like more public resource events too, that are here in the comments, so that more people can know exactly where to go, and it's very easily accessible here in Fort Wayne.
Yes. Well, I guess for me, my long-term goal is more like, I hope that in 5 years' time, the commons will actually be managed and operated by the community members and not us. Not that we're getting fired, but hopefully we'll be moving on to do more startups and other similar projects like this in other neighborhoods or even cities in America, because the fact that the community is able to manage and run this community space here, independently, goes to show that we have created a sound structure and foundation for the community to take ownership and take pride of this space. And I'm hoping that in time to come, that we're able to have a kind of a display case here where the community can just walk in and look at, like, oh, there are these jams and sauces available that were produced from our kitchen. and that they can purchase this here or online, kind of a thing, or any other products, as a result of the kind of programs, the farmers markets program, our programs like the business incubator, encouraging young, entrepreneurs to come up and set up their business and so forth. So there is that place. So we don't just create programs, but that, this place is the launch pad, for where they can go, with whatever life journey that they embarked on. So that's that long plan. Short term, I'm hoping that, when we approach September, we may have some good results, to present to the community during our anniversary celebration in September, of all that different community programs that, we've been working towards to achieve for the next couple of years. But I hope in the next 1 or 2 years, Fourth Plain Community Commons will become like, the friendly neighborhood space, that the community would think of when they say that, where shall we have this celebration, or where shall we have this forum at? Oh, Fourth Plain Community Commons, So it's getting that across, that awareness to the community, for them to take ownership that this is your space, it's for you.
Yes. That's what I always tell them when they come through the doors. It's like, oh, this place is so nice. Your place, like, this is our place.
Yeah.
It's our space. But yeah.